Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Luke Papala Show. Our first topic today is we're talking about Kim Kardashian, specifically when she went on the Call Her Daddy podcast. She made some comments about not knowing the price of milk that made a lot of people question how much that she was in touch with the average American. So I'm going to play the clip in question, and then I have lots of things to say. Here we go.
I don't have a concept of what like certain simple things cost, which really is, I'd like to know a little bit more about what like a milk carton cost and.
Okay, so there it is, right there. There's the clip in question. So Kim Kardashian, I tried to do a lot of research on this episode to get that clip. It took a lot to get that clip. You couldn't find it anywhere. And I lost many brain cells. Here's the problem with celebrities, folks, specifically Kim Kardashian. Not only has she ruined the lives of countless girls who are on the internet trying to adhere to an unrealistic body image, seeing this and seeing how they will never get to that and they end up harming themselves, cutting themselves, really just hating themselves because they will never look like that, even though she photoshops herself and she pays for implants that are just unrealistic, right? In addition to that, she tells you how to vote. This past election, she was telling you vote Kamala Harris. Before that, 2020, she was saying vote Biden Harris. She was saying, I am telling you, the voter, that you are a piece of shit if you don't vote the way I tell you to. But as we see right there, she can't even tell you what the price of milk is. She can't tell you how much it costs to buy a gallon of milk, okay? For example, here in the Midwest, in the state I live in, $3.09, okay? $3.09 for a gallon of milk at Meijer. Why? Because I know. I'm in touch with how much things cost. I understand how things work. This woman happens to be a billionaire, but she does not have a single brain cell. How is this possible? How is this possible? And to go off on a larger tangent about politicians and celebrities telling you who to vote for, I find it really, really aggravating, and it pisses me off that these people every 4 years, every 2 years, when you talk about the midterms even, they tell you how to vote, and they tell you how to think, and they shame you because you have values and you have morals, and they have none. They come from Hollywood. They come from this town of debauchery and fakeness and devil worship and all of this stuff, right? If they do it in public or if they do it kind of in private, kind of like behind the scenes and they disguise it, whatever. At the end of the day, these people don't have our values. And yet they tell us what to do and they shame us. And they come back every 4 years and they say, you vote for this person. I don't care what you think. I don't care what your values are. I don't even know what the real world is. I don't know how much things cost. I don't know what you're going through. I don't know about the hardships that you're going through. I'm in my ivory tower up here, but do what I say. You see what I'm saying? This is the problem. You do not hate celebrities enough. You don't hate politicians enough. I've been doing this shit for 4 years, and this is one of the core messages of whatever movement I'm trying to create, whatever thing I represent. Like, this is the biggest issue. When you have these people that are out of touch. This started with the Hillary Clinton campaign in 2015, 2016, when she said, Trump supporters, half of them are a basket of deplorables. This is the problem. These are people that don't know what real life is. They're not accustomed to how much things cost, like Kim Kardashian, or what regular bills would cost, for example. They don't know. And if we continue to put these people on this high perch, if we continue to praise these people and look at these people and treat them like gods, then they are going to continue to give us their opinion and try to tell us what to do. They view us as the proletarians. They view us as peasants. They view us as less than. And they continue to think that we're going to come back every 4 years and listen to them and take their opinions seriously. And listen to them when they tell us who to vote for. Why? Because they have interests as well. So that's the first topic I wanted to talk about. It's just so frustrating, so infuriating. You don't understand how much power these people hold over us. And we give all the Kardashians all of this attention, too much attention, when we could be giving attention to other things, such as, I don't know, healthcare, for an example, such as, I don't know, jobs. Gen Z is running into an issue where Gen Z men have a high unemployment rate, and nobody is talking about why. How about AI? What do you think AI 10 years down the line, for example? How much energy do you think AI is going to waste? We're not talking about that. We're not talking about how the power grid is so vulnerable. It could go down at any second, and we don't have a plan. That is what we're talking about. How are we going to manage the population crisis? Once the boomers die, there are going to be more job positions open and not enough people to be able to replace those job positions. Okay, these are a couple of problems, for example, that we're not talking about. Nobody's creating solutions. Instead, we are giving all of our attention to the Kardashians, who, let's be honest, don't have any of our interests. Is that shocking? Kim Kardashian, who might have 2 brain cells, can't even tell us what the price of milk is per gallon, for example. It's just so infuriating. You don't hate these people enough, and they hate you too, and they show you, just like I showed you in that clip. And so it's just so frustrating. I don't understand why these people feel the need to tell us about the different things that they care about when it comes time to vote, and they are not aligned with our values at all. It is so infuriating. It is so frustrating. I just get infuriated. We have a great show. Thank you if you clicked on the video. It's going to be a great show. Please hit the subscribe button. Give the video a like. Give the podcast a comment. We are doing memberships now. Very exciting. For as little as 99 cents per month, you can contribute financially to the Luke Papala Show, to Innocent Villains Podcast, to this channel. We thank you for all of your support, and it's going to be a great show. We have a lot of things to cover. Yeah, it's going to be great. I'm taking an issue with all of our politicians celebrating the Hindu holiday of, I hope I'm pronouncing this right, Diwali. Have you seen this? Many politicians, Republican and Democrat, are all wishing people in this country and around the world a happy Diwali. From Vivek Ramaswamy to Ted Cruz to Kamala Harris, anybody, Republican or Democrat, if you hold a major party position in America, is wishing our country a happy Diwali. Do you see the issue? Must I spell it out for you? I think I might have to spell it out for a couple of you who don't understand why this is a problem. Hinduism has many gods. It's a polytheistic god, meaning 2 or more gods. And I don't know if you've been living under a rock. Perhaps you just are an Indian and you got to this country yesterday. But this is one nation under God, meaning the Christian God, being the one true God. It was not founded on many gods. This is not a nation under many gods. Do you see the problem? Hinduism has many gods, and so therefore, by definition, it is a pagan religion. This is not something that we should be worshiping. Furthermore, if we are to still be a Christian nation, which we are, we should not be importing people who worship a religion with multiple gods, multiple false gods, mind you. Enter Vivek Ramaswamy. Vivek Ramaswamy is somebody that likes to dance around this issue. Vivek is cosplaying as a normal American. Now, he was born here. He is technically an American. But the issue about his parents is kind of foggy. You'll do a simple Google search and it says that they're American, but his dad chose to stay an Indian citizen first. So they immigrated here. It's up to interpretation if he's an anchor baby or not. But you see people like Vivek Ramaswamy that are saying all the right things on the surface. And then when it comes to the issue of the H-1B visas, where Republicans, a lot of them Republicans, some Democrats, support the issue that you take Indian workers, high-skilled Indian workers, from India through the H-1B visa, and corporations are allowed to employ these people via the H-1B visa and employ them for a cheaper wage than they would Americans who grew up here, got a college education. Say it's for engineers, for example. Say a starting salary of an engineer in America, let's just say $90,000. they could hypothetically get an H-1B visa from India, employ them, and they pay about $50,000. Now, you see the problem, and this is what corporations continue to do. Why are we seeing all of the major politicians in America, including everyone, Kash Patel, President Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy, Kamala Harris, Chuck Schumer, Ted Cruz, everybody, why are we seeing this? Well, it's because there's a growing number of Indians that are being immigrated here. Why is this? Because corporations are able to see that these Indians will work for cheaper wages, cheaper labor, and thus they keep bringing them here. We saw the thing about Trump having a fee for every H-1B visa, and the thought that it was going to be an annual payment of $100,000 per worker. It's actually just a one-time payment of $100,000 per H-1B visa per worker. And so there was this consensus about, there was a fight. Is it going to be annually? Is it going to be one time? There was contradictions from the White House. Caroline Leavitt said one thing, and then you had other people in the administration, Howard Lutnick, saying another thing. Howard Lutnick said it was annual. Caroline Leavitt said no, it's one time. So that's the problem. Going back to it, we have to understand what they're doing. Just like the migrants from the southern border, like the Democrats do, a lot of Republicans are in favor of having more people getting green cards, getting citizenship based off of the H-1B visa because they require cheaper wages. Think about that. Understand what this is. American workers are being replaced again, this time in the high-skilled jobs. Why? Because it's cheaper. Why? Because corporations are allowed to just take advantage of it. And, I mean, you can't blame the people that are coming from India. You can't blame them. But the reality is, American workers, especially Gen Z men, who have been told that going to college for something like an engineering degree, something like a computer science degree, anything in technology, they've been told, okay, you're going to get a job when you come out. You are going to set yourself up for the future. You're going to be able to make a lot of money to provide for a family, to have a great career. This is 5 years ago. Everybody was saying, myself included, they told me, go to college, get an engineering degree. You're going to be able to set yourself up for life. You're going to be able to have a great career. You're going to be able to make a lot of money. I was a mechanical engineering major, right? Obviously, I'm not. Shocker. But the point is, that's what we were sold. And in our classes, though, you had people that were Indians. It's just what it is. And it was like half and half. And they came here on the H-1B visa. And when you're around them, like you would see them at the gym. And let's be honest, they're not assimilating. They would work out in long sleeve button downs and jeans, and they would smell. They definitely fulfill the stereotype, no doubt about it. And the problem is that lack of assimilation, it continues to persist. And they continue to bring their pagan gods to the United States. Okay, let me come back. Let me weave it back. If we continue to import people that don't have our shared values, that believe that we are not one nation under God, then we will not be a Christian nation eventually. It's bound to happen if we continue to import these people for cheap labor. If we continue to do this, then what you will see is a country that is eventually not majority Christian, but you're going to see the society continue to break down furthermore than it has. You see India. Have you watched videos of what India is? It's a giant pile of garbage. I haven't been there. I'm assuming it smells. People that go to India say it smells. They're eating shit off the street, and they're taking it out of their ass, putting it into their mouth. It's insane. Do we want this for our country? If we continue to import people from a shithole, our country is going to be a shithole. Furthermore, if we continue to import people that believe that there are multiple gods, that believe in multiple pagan gods, our country will probably be a pagan country. And it will not be any longer one country under God, one nation under God. When you have the decline of Christian civilization, when you look around at all of the Western countries, you have a decline of prosperity, a decline of a healthy society. This is not good. So all of these politicians that are wishing happy Diwali, for the first time in my life I've seen this. It was all a coordinated thing. This is not good. This is not productive. It is not going to be great. And you see Vivek, I'm not going to put it up here, but happy Diwali, he says. May the light prevail over darkness. And more, you start to see the Hindu statues, the gold statues, going up all across the United States. In Texas, they have a big one. And you just wonder, you just wonder about the Old Testament and what they say when Moses came down from Mount Sinai and everybody's worshiping false gods. And you just wonder, is that where our country's heading? Maybe it is, and maybe we're all damned and it's too late. But you gotta say, man, we are not going into a good place. This is not going well. Things are not going well here. And if we continue to allow corporations to take advantage of American workers by exploiting the H-1B visa and paying these workers less than what Americans would make, this is going to continue to happen. So my advice would be, hey, Republicans, hey, Democrats, can we stop, please? Can we actually hold corporations accountable for once? Because the American people are suffering. People are becoming unemployed more and more. That unemployment rate is going to continue to go up if we exploit the cheap labor. Stop. Just employ Americans. It's that simple. Like, people are going to be able to get jobs. We're going to be able to make money. Families are going to persist again. People are going to start having kids again. Just allow Americans to have these jobs and it'll be okay. That's that simple. I can't explain it enough. Maybe this doesn't sound like an intelligent argument. It certainly isn't. It's common sense. If you continue to allow these H-1B visas to come in and employ these people for cheap labor that don't have our values, our country is going to change. And maybe it's by design, but it pisses me off. It just pisses me off. So I'm kind of black-pilled on that, man. It's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate. But we have to go on. I know. It's a sad topic, but we do have to go on. I do have some interesting news, though. Speaking of the population, speaking of the birth rate, this is quite interesting, folks. So if you've been following American population statistics, right, you would know that once the boomers are gone, we're kind of in a pickle. We're kind of in trouble because the populations that are going to replace the jobs held by boomers and everything held by boomers, it's smaller than the baby boomer movement. And so I saw a stat recently, and I wanted to show you this because I thought it was very interesting. So we have the birth rate, obviously, it's decreasing. But American conservatives are losing only 0.1 of the fertility since the 1990s. Okay, so here, I'm going to put the chart up. So right here, it says, here's the chart. Birth rates are falling more steeply among progressives than conservatives. So this is the average number of children born to people with different political ideologies goes as follows. We have the U.S. from 1980 to 2020. Okay, so obviously conservative right here, progressive right here. The conservative is going down, but at a decent rate right here. The score, the amount of people that you need per household is over 2 to continue a society, okay? Right now we're at 1.6, but as you see right here, the number for conservatives, it's still above 2. It's right here, a little bit below 2.4 kids per household, okay? The progressives, though, massive tank right here. Massive drop off. Now, right below 1.8 children per household, okay? That's in the U.S., and that's a problem. But here's the developed world average. So it goes from 2.2, and it's right at 2 for the conservatives. Now, for progressives in 1995, same thing, started a little bit below conservatives, right? We'll say 2.1. Now it's a little bit below 1.6 in 2020. That's the problem. And so what do you make of this? You can make a lot of things about this. And one thing I'm going to say is that liberals, progressives, that whole leftist ideology has been encouraged to do what over the past 40 years? Not have kids. That's the main thing. It's been about self. It's been about put yourself before others. It's been about explore your career, put kids on hold, when in reality, 35 years old is when geriatric pregnancies start. That's like when it starts. That's when the medical community labels it a geriatric pregnancy. And what we know about the fertility rate, what we know about microplastics, it's getting harder and harder to have kids. So if you wait till you're 35, wait till you're 40, you put your career first, unfortunately, you're not going to have a greater likelihood of getting pregnant. Whereas conservatives, if you're raised in a conservative home, if you're raised in a right-of-center home, family is something that's really important. Religion is something that's really important. The left is not grounded in religion. The left does not have an ideology where religion is something that's at its core. and this is a problem. And we've seen the statistics. The author of The Coddling of the American Mind, I believe his name is, I forget the author's name. But he said that when he did a study of liberals and conservatives, the mental health problems in liberals drastically higher than conservatives. Why? Because conservatives, for the most part, it's not all of them, but it's the most of them, are rooted in some religion. And religion can do a lot of things, but one thing it can do is keep you in touch with the world, give you a sense of purpose. It's very important. Community, all of that stuff. Religion is very important for that. It gives you a sense of meaning. And on the left, for example, when you don't have religion rooted in anything really, when you don't have families discussing and emphasizing having religion in their homes, in their hearts, you don't have that sense of meaning. You have to find purpose in other ways, like social movements, like feminism, like LGBTQ rights and awareness, like protests, like Antifa, like communism, stuff like that, that isn't necessarily proven to have a long-term good effect on you. And so that's what you have here. This is the effect. And so on one hand, it's very encouraging because more people, if the conservative homes are the only ones having kids, and the studies suggest this, on one hand, you're not going to have kids growing up with these leftist, progressive, liberal ideas that are kind of being self-destructive, if we're being completely honest, that are destroying the country, as it would turn out. And so you're going to have less of that. But on the other hand, half of the population isn't having kids. And so that's a huge issue. We have to create incentives for people to have kids. We have to create an environment where it's more affordable for people to have kids, for people to start a family. If you're on the right or the left has a huge problem with self-hatred in this country. And we have to get to a point where people on the left are excited about being American. We have to get to a point where people on the left are proud to be Americans and see a world where having children is worth it. And if we don't have that, then even though the right will win, our country, our society will definitely suffer. So it's a big point for people to have confidence in the system again, for people to have confidence in the country again, and to not be based in this self-identification of this pagan feminism, LGBTQ ideology, but to be rooted in something greater than yourself. So hopefully, people on the left, they can fix that. It's not something that could be done with policy, unfortunately. That's what I think. It's a shame that this is happening, but what are you going to do? What are you going to do? I have a transition here, and it's about Stephen A. Smith. So if you remember, this was back in 2021. Stephen A. Smith was very critical of Kyrie Irving for not taking the vaccine. And a lot of people were, but Stephen A. Smith was the one that was leading the charge. And I'm not going to play that for you because everybody knows about it. Stephen A. Smith was really strict about Kyrie, very hawkish about wanting him to take the vaccine. But he's come around because now he's actually empathizing with Kyrie and saying Kyrie was right for not taking the COVID vaccine. We're going to play this clip for you. This just came out. Here we go.
You see who Kyrie Irving is? Kyrie's a good brother, man. Kyrie's a good brother. We used to butt heads because he missed work too damn much. And I'm like, yo, man, this brother's electrifying. I want to see this brother dancing on the basketball court. I don't want to hear no shit about no COVID vaccine. Get your ass on the court. I need to see you. Now, obviously, in hindsight, the brother right, because we see all the conspiracy theories that come out, and props to him for having the foresight to see that. We didn't see that at the time. And then, but you also have to understand, I'm living in a world where you got cats making 38, 40, 45 million. You got GMs and owners complaining about it. And you got billionaires looking me in the face and saying, yo, Stephen A., I took that damn vaccine. Who the hell are they not to take the vaccine?
Boom. So he was right. Kyrie was right. And we knew this, all right? There's a stat, it's like 20% of Americans didn't get the COVID vaccine. The rest of people were either pressured or just were forced to take it. And I gotta say, I love vindication, man. I didn't get the COVID vaccine. A lot of my loved ones didn't get it because we kind of understood this isn't right. Constitutionally, this isn't right. In addition to that, you have settlements all around the country now where cities are being forced to rehire all of these cops who left the force because they didn't want to get the COVID vaccine. And all of these police forces, all of the cities were pressuring them. And as a result, they suffered because good cops left the force, did other things. And now they're coming back and they're being paid for that missed time. But I gotta say, props to Stephen A. for just admitting that he was wrong. But low-key, it still makes me mad because these people every day, not just Stephen A., but all these people on ESPN were saying we're pressuring Kyrie and we're condemning him for not getting the COVID vaccine. This experimental vaccine that wasn't even a vaccine, was a gene therapy, for the first time ever, was being forced to be injected into people against their will. My father included was somebody that doesn't want to take the vaccine, but because he worked for the government, he was either going to get the vaccine or they were going to fire him. And this was real. A lot of people don't remember 2020. A lot of people forget about COVID entirely, which is so crazy. But folks, it wasn't that long ago. Kyrie is vindicated, and the rest of us are vindicated. And it is insane that people, their jobs were on the line. If you didn't get this vaccine, this experimental vaccine that isn't even a vaccine, again, I hate to reiterate it, but that's true. If you didn't want to get this, if you didn't want to have something stuck in your body against your own will, imagine that, then they would fire you. And this was our lives. For 2 years, this was our lives. And so to see Stephen A. come around, good for him, props to him. But where were you when this was happening? Where were you when all of us were saying, hey, man, this doesn't sound good. This doesn't sound good. This was unconstitutional. I mean, we know that. The long-term studies have come back. It's not great. Pregnant women were on TikTok saying, oh, I just got my 7th booster, my 7th COVID booster. Oh, I'm fine. Meanwhile, the kid comes out and shakes and like that. And the kid's nonverbal. And they're like, oh, no, everything's fine. Bronny's falling down in practice, collapsing. Soccer players, basketball players, football players are collapsing in the middle of the game. And everybody wonders why. I wonder why. I wonder why this is happening all of a sudden. I wonder what plague, what happened for all of these very healthy, the healthiest people in our society, randomly collapsing during play. Randomly having heart attack. I wonder why. Why? I wonder why. Tell me why. I know multiple people that got the COVID vaccine and then they started to have health issues. But because you can't sue the vaccine companies, these people, these corporations are making billions. Billions with a B. Imagine that. And they're going to try and do it again. And so for Stephen A. to come out in support of Kyrie, good. But, you're a little bit late. You're a little bit late. Where were you when our jobs were pressuring us and saying, hey, if you don't take this vaccine, we're going to fire you. Or we're not going to fire you, but we're all going to shame you. Where were you when the women with the triple masks and multiple plastic gloves on were telling us, hey, you're endangering people if you don't get this vaccine. If you don't get this vaccine, grandma's going to die and it's going to be your fault. Where the fuck were you, man? I'm sorry. Glad that finally, when this is something that's politically acceptable, glad he's finally saying what's true. But holy shit. What? I remember being in a fight with a friend and she was talking about, well, if you don't get the COVID vaccine, you're going to infect other people too if you get COVID. You're going to put other people in harm's risk. Rachel Maddow was saying if you get the COVID vaccine, you're not going to get COVID. You're not going to get COVID. I'm going to find that clip real quick because I think it's very important. I think it's very important that we play this for you because Rachel Maddow literally went on MSNBC and said that the COVID vaccine, if you get it, it's going to stop the COVID virus. Do you remember this? I remember this very, very clearly. And in fact, we're going to play this for you. Here's Rachel Maddow going on MSNBC and saying if you got the COVID vaccine, then you're not going to catch COVID.
right? Instead of the virus being able to hop from person to person to person, potentially mutating and becoming more virulent and drug resistant along the way, now we know that the vaccines work well enough that the virus stops with every vaccinated person.
False. False. It does not stop with every vaccinated person, Rachel. Contrary to what she told everybody, contrary to what all the mainstream people told us, it didn't work. Every single person that I know that said, oh, I got my COVID vaccine. Travis Kelce with you, with the Band-Aid, the blue. Everybody that I know, oh yeah, I got the COVID vaccine. 2 weeks later, I got COVID. 2 months later, yeah, I got COVID again. But I'm boosted up. I actually just got my second booster. A couple weeks later, yeah, I got COVID. We stopped the entire world for 2 years, forced thousands of small businesses to close down. People's livelihoods were destroyed. Governors who are still in power, by the way, politicians that are still in power, when they committed the biggest violation of any of our basic freedoms. And all these people on the right that were talking shit saying, oh, well, if the government tries to take our rights, at least we have our guns. And they didn't do a fucking thing. And these people like Stephen A. will come out and say, oh yeah, we were wrong. I was wrong about the vaccine. It was people like you that destroyed people's lives. People like Rachel Maddow that destroyed people's lives. Took away people's ability to make a living. Took away people's ability, took away people's lives. Took away the only thing that was meaningful in people's lives. These business owners, these restaurant owners, these gym owners, anything. You couldn't go to church, but the liquor store was open. You could not go to church for Easter. You could not worship God, but the liquor store was open. Yeah. How does that make sense? Do we remember that? Do you remember that? How angry does this make you? Is it working? And am I making you angry? If so, it's working. Understand that these people will do this again. Understand that it is not done, that it was just a test. And yes, they succeeded. They gave us the vaccine. They gave us fear. Yes, they succeeded. They got control. Next time when they actually pull out some shit that'll kill us, it's going to work. We're fucked. Sorry to black pill, but it's just very frustrating. These people are coming out, Chris Cuomo coming out, and saying, oh yeah, the COVID vaccine, it didn't work. Of course it didn't work. Of course you were wrong to pressure people. Of course you were wrong to destroy people's lives. It's so frustrating. It's terrible, man. I'm going to try to end on a positive note here. Give me I don't know if I can. I mean, we could do one thing. We could do about... We'll do a couple things, actually. All right, folks. I remember when gay marriage was passed in 2015. Do you remember that? Love wins. The Supreme Court decision that same-sex couples will be able to get married. The law of the land. I remember that. Well, this is what it's come to now. So it used to be the LGBT community, then it became the LGBT community, then it became the LGBTQ community, then it became the LGBTQIA community, then it became the LGBTQIA 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You get the point? They just keep adding things on over and over and over again. Well, folks, they have a new member. Have you heard of the new member? The new member of the LGBTQIA plus community. They're called MAPS. What are MAPS? Minor Attracted Persons. And we are going to play a video from one of the minor attracted persons. You may wonder, does that mean what I think it means? Yes. So here's a video from one of the MAPS, the newest member of the LGBTQIA 1, 2, 3 community. And they're explaining what they are. Here we go.
My name is Connor Gardner Weston. I'm 27 years old and live in Dayton, Ohio. I am an anti-contact, non-offending pedophile. I am fundamentally against adult-minor relationships because I know that they are harmful. I don't have any urges that I need control, just like how most straight men don't have the urge to rape every woman they meet. Pedophilia is not a choice.
Pedophilia is not a choice, is what he says. This guy says that pedophilia is not a choice.
I can choose not to harm minors, but I can't choose to stop being attracted to them. My name is Connor Gardner West.
This guy says that pedophilia is not a choice. Okay, so now this puts the LGBTQ community in a bit of a problem. Okay, you can come at this from two perspectives. Number one, you could say, hey, this guy is in our movement. You could say, if you're them, pedophilia is not a choice. Then you would align gay, bisexual, transgender, queer, intersex, asexual, all of that stuff with pedophiles. If you say pedophilia is not a choice, then you associate pedophilia with being gay, which is a problem for them. Number two, if you say, hey, we don't want this, then what you're putting out is saying it is a choice, but they're still identifying with your movement. That's the problem. These people are still identifying, saying, I'm one of you. And you can't get the stench off. No matter how you condemn, you can't get the stench off. So you can't win. And again, some people, I don't even know where I was 14 when this happened, when this got legalized, right? And so I remember people saying, oh, you know, first it's this, then pretty soon it's going to be, we're going to legalize bestiality. That people are going to be able to have sex with dogs and it's going to be whatever. And that hasn't happened. But it became LGB, then it was LGBT, and the trans movement became more accepted. Then you have Drag Queen Story Hour that happened. Then you have the forced sterilization of minors. You talk about the Biden administration was talking about gender-affirming care when it was really cutting off your breast and your dick, and so on and so forth. And you have the bill in California where they don't require the teachers in the school to tell the parents if the kids are going by a different name, calling themselves female if they're a male and vice versa. And this is the natural progression of things. This is the problem. This is the social contagion. Kids are very malleable. Kids are very influenceable. If a kid does not know what they want for breakfast, if you do not let a kid pick out what they want for breakfast, lunch, or dinner, why are you going to let a kid pick out their gender? We know this has been hashed out. We're not going to do it again. But this is the logical conclusion when you continue to allow society to normalize all of these things. Eventually, that snowball is going to come rolling down the hill, and this is where you're going to arrive. What are you going to do? Are we going to cut it off right here, or are we going to continue the snowball all the way down the hill and get to bestiality? What are we going to do? It's a great question, because this guy doesn't think pedophilia is a choice. And I've been told all my life that being gay isn't a choice either. So what are we going to do? This puts a dent in the movement, pokes a couple of holes in the movement. I don't think it's going to be good. By the way, here's a person that's going to be teaching your kids. This is a kindergarten teacher, and I'm going to play it for you. But again, another conclusion of this movement continuing to gain steam, continuing to be tolerated because we are supposed to be a country of tolerance.
Hello, my name is EJ. I teach elementary general music to students from kindergarten through 5th grade. And my students call me Maestro. But here are all the things in the last week the students have called me instead of Maestro. A 5th grader called me Maestro Baddie. There's various 5th grade girls who really love to hype me up, and it made me feel great. I said I can be Maestro Baddie, absolutely. In a similar vein, but a little more uncomfortable, we have Pookie Maestro. So that was unique. Now I'm non-binary, and like Cher, I just have one name, Maestro, as a teacher. But I do get called Miss Maestro and Mr. Maestro in the same vein. I don't love it, but I get that they're confused. We have a lot of English language learners at this school. I'm not going to be that mad about Miss and Mr. Maestro. Bro. Have been called bro multiple times. I do sometimes address children as bro, so I personally don't hate it.
This is what happens when you continue to proclaim that you are the society of tolerance. When you tolerate things, they continue to persist. If we would have cut this off right at the base, you wouldn't get non-binary kindergarten teachers. But because we are the society of tolerance, this is what you get. This is what happens. This is what happens when the social contagion comes for the people that are going to educate your kids. So good luck, America. I don't know what else to say, but things aren't going well. Things are not going well at all. I know I said that I was going to try not to end the episode on a black pill, but I'm very black-pilled. I don't know where to go from here. Things aren't turning out good. Good luck.